It's the TGI Triple F edition of the show. You don't want to miss that as well. Thank God it's finally Friday. Yeah. It's going to be a great conversation. Mr. But I don't like calling him Mr. because Nana and Mr. don't go together. So it's Nana Kofi Asihene. It's one of the most creative geniuses you come across in this country. Done so much within the industry. And so for today, we're going to have a discussion on the state of the creative industry in Ghana. Where is it now? Where did it come from? Where is it now? Where is it going? Is it going in the right direction? We're talking everything. And I'm going to start with a preamble for this very thing. What is a preamble? Quite recently, NorthernReports.com, that, I like going to Northern Reports a couple of times. He said that there was a report that was out. And this report stated that Ghana ranked 7th in soft power. Ghana ranked 7th in soft power. First of all, if you don't know what soft power is, that one cry is a problem for me and you. But Ghana ranked 7th in soft power across Africa, with countries like Nigeria and the rest above us in soft power. Soft power includes a number of things, including, very, very importantly, the creative space. And if Ghana is ranking 7th in Africa, I want to start by asking Nana Kofi Asihene, who has been in this space for years, why are we 7th? Why are we not first?
Good morning.
I think Egypt was first.
Well, I mean, it's not surprising. I would think it's Nigeria. But I'm surprised is Egypt.
It's Egypt.
Yeah. It's not surprising that we're 7th. Can we be first? Yeah, I think definitely we have to be first. But the problem is maybe it's just because we're not intentional about anything when it comes to the creative sector, for that matter. So I guess that's why we're 7th. And even with the haphazard approach, if we're 7th out of a continent with like 50 something countries, that should just tell you or even amplify the potential it has. So with just a little effort, Pastor once said, Ghana ha ututu nyama ye kakrapa ye beka so wanyansa pa. Just a little effort, we could get to number 1. But it's just because we're not being intentional about it, and that is the first problem.
We should be intentional about a creative space. But, okay, let me just read this. Yeah. Ghana's overall score in the 2023 Global Soft Power Index is 35.5, which places it in the 92nd position out of 121 countries that they did. This is an improvement from the 86th position in 2022, where it's called 30.3. Despite the improvement, Ghana still ranks relatively low in the index. Now, what are the pillars of the index? 1, familiarity. It assesses how well a country is known among other countries. That's number 1. So we're going to look at this because that's going to be the basis. This soft power discussion is going to be the basis of our discussion today. Number 2, reputation. And this is another crucial aspect of soft power. It measures how positively a country is perceived by others. 3, influence. And this refers to a country's ability to shape global discourse and policy. Then it comes to business and trade, which we all know. It measures how attractive the country is to investors.
And that's 4th, right?
Yes, that's the 4th one. How attractive you are to investors and how well your companies perform on a global stage. Then there's governance, right? There's governance. That's number 5. Then there's international relations. Then there is culture and heritage. Right? Then there is media and communication, education and science. The last one is people and values. All of this is in the creative space. Let's start with the very top. Like for me, that familiarity. Nana, you've traveled around the world. You've done programs, you've done works across. The first pillar of the soft power index is familiarity, and it assesses how well a country is known. How well is Ghana known? He says Ghana's familiarity score remain unchanged from the 2022 position, placing it 82nd in both 2022 and 2023. This score suggests that Ghana's brand recognition remains low globally. Anyami, why?
I mean, it's just because, like I said, we've not been intentional about it. If you look at organizations in Ghana, we know lots of brands in Ghana, in the food space, in the agriculture space, in the science space. We know lots of companies. Now, Ghana as a brand should stand for something. Everything we stand for has been things that people have picked up, not necessarily because we've put it in their face for them to see. If it's not some dance called Azonto that comes from Ghana that the youth of Ghana have propagated, or if it's not some genre of music that the youth, in their bid to find some form of economic activity in their lives, push a certain genre called Afrobeat, or if it's not a certain football team winning something that anytime you travel around the world and they say, oh, Ghana, Asamoah Gyan. Those are the things that we are known for because it happens by accident. But we are not intentional about it. It's like we haven't sat down to write down the list of things we can be known for and necessarily in a very intentional way put it out strategically. Our brands do it. Our washing powder brands do it. Even those who sell herbal medicine will go and stand at the car park with their loudspeaker. That's some form of strategy because they understand the power of top of mind awareness. And when you are remembered, what are you remembered for? That's the problem with Ghana. Every time Ghana is remembered, it's either for soccer or something that we didn't intentionally do or some scandal. That is the thing. So if Ghana would necessarily say that, okay, what does Ghana stand for? Because if I ask anybody what does Ghana stand for, lots of things come to mind. Oh, Kente, oh this, oh that, lots of things, music, etc. But how can we together strategically put together a plan and say that this is how we're going to let Ghana, let people see Ghana? It can be a 10-year plan, a 5-year plan, but that is how I want people to see Ghana. And then we intentionally, every single month, do something about it till we get to that point. It's not just in March where we say, hey, Ghana month, celebrate independence, and then move on to our daily lives and forget that we live in a country that is a commodity or that is a brand that needs to be publicized.
And this is government's job.
This is the job of everybody. Everybody needs to do it. Government, the private sector, people running their businesses. I think it's just because as a country, we are not proud of who we are. When we start being proud of who we are, we will gradually, even unintentionally, begin to do that. And then we add that layer of intentionality to it. Because when you meet a Nigerian, you know he's a Nigerian. He would snap out of his Cockney accent or US accent and let you know he's Nigerian before he goes back to speaking that. But it's like everything Ghanaian in this country psychologically is positioned for us to feel like it is inferior. Maybe that's also a psychological thing we need to think about. And why does that happen? And that's something we need to look at. We need to make Ghana appealing for ourselves first. Then we would naturally exude that thing. Then the foreign or the outside world will begin to pick it up. That's what I mean by being intentional. And if we don't do it, we don't expect that we would strike gold just because we happen to be at the right place at the right time. No, it's intentional. India has done it. Other countries have done it.
Nana, the thing here is this. If I were watching TV today, CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, and I see an ad, Ghana ad, right?
Mm-hmm. Which won't be shot by a Ghanaian. Go on.
And I see a Ghana ad on Al Jazeera, it's going to make me feel good. And that is when I'm going to see that, yeah, Charlie, this is Ghana. We have, But if government doesn't go place that ad, or Ministry of Tourism or whatever ministry, in my small corner, how am I helping to ensure that Ghana becomes familiar out there, especially if I haven't traveled before?
That's the top level. Like Visit Rwanda. Every time you watch the Premier League, you see Visit Rwanda.
On the sleeves of Arsenal.
Yes, it's just a phrase, Visit Rwanda. Now you want to visit Rwanda. When I visit Rwanda, there should be something about Rwanda that makes me want to go there again, or probably purchase property there or invest in business there. Now, the things that will bait me to the country are the creative things. But when I get there, there's business, there's health, there's things I can invest in. Do you understand? Now, for that ad to be placed, it means that a certain infrastructure, certain policies, certain systems are in place within the country for me to come. It's like advertising your product and people come and you're out of stock. So when you start a business, the first thing you do is, okay, I have stock. Even if it's limited stock, I know I have stock. I put a premium on it. Then I advertise it, and then people come for it. Therefore, it will be all good and well if we see an ad on CNN, or maybe instead of Infinite Athlete on my favorite team's jersey.
You're a Chelsea fan, I know. Yeah.
It can be
Ghana. Visit Ghana.
It could be
Akwaba, Ghana.
Yes, but then if they come and there's nothing in place.
But we have roads. We have nice hotels.
We don't have enough roads. We don't have enough hotels. Our customer service is terrible. Our roads are terrible. Our advertising industry is doing mediocre advertising. Our film industry is suffering. You know, if you look at the social media space, right? The things happening on our social media space is just because the youth have decided to put out Ghana. But what are we doing collectively to push that? There are a lot of things in Ghana that could be better. Our castles and monuments are being torn apart, really. What are we doing for that? If I step at Kotoka and I get out of airport, what about Ghana will make me want to stay here? And guess what? Even without the effort, people are still coming. People are still buying property here. So if we think, maybe it's all well and good, no. That 7th position that you're saying, we could be number 1, really. And even break into the worldwide index where we are really, really up there. If we put a little effort into it, year of return has helped. But then when the people come, now they start complaining that prices in Ghana are really, really high. Because they are willing to pay the premium, but they are not getting the same thing in return, the quality they want or the quality they perceive for that amount of money in return. What are we doing about these things in this country? Because if that doesn't happen, then they'll come and taste it and then leave. They won't come back.
If you're consulting for a company called Ghana, and the chief executive is a certain person called a president.
Yes.
And the brand is Ghana, and you need to take it from number 7 to number 1.
Yeah.
Give me the top 5 things you tell this president.
I mean, I think
in terms of familiarity in making a brand popular.
I think the first thing is value. We need to figure out what value does Ghana have to offer the entire country. That's the first thing. If you make a list of that, and it's even 2 things, then you begin to look at it. Dubai knows that they have a certain value that may run out in a number of years, so they've turned to tourism. Therefore, everything they do has tourism at the apex of what they're doing. So the health sector is buying into this tourism. The agri sector
health tourism.
Yes, everything
agri
is going
tourism.
Exactly. They have one thing. Now, this is a country that has so many things. A lot of people, sports scouts, come to Ghana to scout for football talent.
Yeah.
Is there a structure in that? And we see our footballers on international screens doing well. Is there a structure to make that happen more fluidly? You know, a lot of foreign productions have come into Ghana. Recently, there was the NFL ad that was shot in Ghana. 2 years ago, we shot a series for BET, Gabriel Union, across Africa by a solely owned Ghanaian company, Ghanaian crew. Now, can we do it? Yes, we can do it. And that's very, very possible. But then we need to start being intentional about it. That's the thing. These are things that Ghana can offer. The agric space, even the herbal medicine space. Because you do realize that people are looking for alternate forms of medicine.
Exactly.
That's why India is there, because India has a good balance of the
white man's medicine, and the Ayurvedic.
Thank you very much.
Ayurvedic India.
So when we make a list of all the things we have, we count our blessings. We name them one by one. Then we begin to figure out, okay, how then do we package these things? And not just to the foreigner, but first to us. Because if we don't believe in that vision, if the regular person who sells pure water by the roadside doesn't believe that Ghana is something, then that can't work. So then you start turning the minds of people. How then do you turn the minds of people? Our films, our music. There's nothing intentional about the way we do music. Our music is all about, and then the girls. I get that.
But you've shot, Nana Kofi Asihene, you've shot 1 million music videos with the girls.
Don't say it like that. The thing is, it has to be intentional. So these things do exist.
Okay.
But then, is there a collective effort to start turning the way people think? I mean, when I was growing up, I think I in my head, any American can pick a gun and go to any country and fight his way and go and capture their president. Him alone.
Yeah, Chuck Norris does it.
Yes, Rambo does it. Because that's what we're made to think in the films. That's the power of film. So an American thinks that America is invincible. You can't do anything to America. When the American anthem plays, you as a Ghanaian, you get goose pimples. You feel the spirit behind the anthem. And that's all because It's intentionally placed for you to believe in the power of America or the power of that country for that matter. Now, that's where it starts. When you are in the country and you believe that your country is invincible, half of the work is done, because then you would confess it, you will live it. So then how then do we use, the value of what we have, and then we begin to use these things as maybe as a trial period. How can we turn our people around to even believe in this first? Using film, using music, using the arts, using poetry, Ebo White does lots of plays. The number of people who go to Ebo White's plays, not to even go far. You remember Osofo Dazi? Osofo Dazi will turn to the camera and drop a moral of a story is
exactly
it's here for NT, and then he will say something and he drops wisdom into the heads of people. With all these things happening, the Krakran is saying, what's the point? We need to be intentional and start dropping these gems in the heads of people. So gradually, our people begin to think a certain way. Then foreigners can then believe, this is the Ghanaian. That's what the Ghanaian believes in.
Still on familiarity and the use of all these arts.
Yeah.
The Jollof thing, have we milked it enough in terms of familiarity?
But Jollof is Senegalese, right?
Yeah, the Wolofs, right?
Yes.
The Wolofs
exactly
brought Jollof.
Yes.
But we take from them. So
so let's say that we won it over Nigeria. But you see, I don't think this war should end, because this is a war, soft war.
Exactly.
That Ghana and Nigeria can milk forever. For me, I think from a strategic point of view, it's not about, so Ghana has won, so it's over. No, we can still go, and Jollof can be something that Ghana and Nigeria can milk till the end of time, because we can continuously know ours is better. And then we find PR, we find advertising around this subject. We have to milk it. And if we're going to list the things that Ghana has, Jollof is one. Look at the number of Jollof festivals that happen towards the end of a year. Jollof rave, Jollof this, Jollof that, watch it this, watch it that. Yesterday I saw one cover and slate something. See, people are finding value in the things, and people patronize it within the country. So if there's a holistic approach, if there's a top level policy that would help these things. Enough of we've given the creative sector $2.5 million. That won't get to the hands of the creative people. At the core, the guy who's weaving baskets or making wooden stuff up in a brie, who's a craftsman, who needs new sets of chisels, how does that benefit the person? Because this money will be used to attend big conferences, sit in planes and stuff, and the real people who deserve it will not get it.
We're talking Ghana and soft power. We're talking to the man who understands the space. Now, Kofi Asihene, he is a creative consultant. Let's come to the next one. Reputation. It's how a country is perceived by others. How positively. You've been around. What do they think of us?
I think no matter what happens in the political space or any other space, people still respect Ghana.
Okay.
When they know. Right? So even the little they know, they give respect to Ghana, because you can't beat the power of good news. Ghana Zonto, Ghana, Samwajan, Ghana, walk up. People will say these things because that is good reputation. You can't beat that. No, light shines over darkness, really. So that's something that I don't think it's difficult for us to get. Kwame Nkrumah is still revered around the world.
We're still milking that brand.
Have we even milked it?
We haven't?
We have not. We haven't even started.
Are you serious?
We haven't even... we've milked it in terms of other things. Politically, we've used him as an example, etc. But the brand Kwame Nkrumah, nobody has touched it. What does Kwame Nkrumah stand for? What are his values? Even within the country, have we picked the values of Kwame Nkrumah and used that as a way of turning the way our people think?
Okay.
We tend to politicize everything. Everything is either A or B in this country. House of Kotoko. I'll just use those two examples, but you know what I mean.
I know.
And and I think your previous guest was talking about the same thing. When we politicize everything. No, enough of the politics, right? Let's begin to look at, like I'm saying, so Kwame Nkrumah, what does Kwame Nkrumah stand for? Do we know what Kwame Nkrumah stands for?
He said that so many times in all his books.
Yeah.
Have we even read it?
Do I even know where to buy a Kwame Nkrumah book? Why isn't a Kwame Nkrumah book on our reading list for our students? Do you get my point? Why is it that companies in Ghana that have grown are not case studies when we are doing our master's programs? when I was doing my master's, all the case studies were foreign organizations, and I would continuously bring an example of a local entity, and someone would say, "Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, good. So where are the artists? Why are we not writing about these things?" Because it's when we gather all these stories and begin to put out, their reputation is done, sorted, because then people know. The Kwame Nkrumahs, the Azumes, the Nkulenus, all those people, all those stories, right? So it's enough of the boy meets girl, girl marries, girl does not marry, girl is heartbroken, end of story, to God be the glory. We've had enough of that.
No, but your people in that space, do they have the capacity to write these stories?
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
So why are they doing the boy meets girl? Why are they not writing
because
success Kwame Nkrumah?
Because if they come to organizations for funding, the organizations look at the financial line and the numbers. The people out there, what do they want to watch? Yeah, entertainment. Like, we have a certain mindset, and that's what needs to change. So to milk it, won't milk it now. I was giving an analogy of a bamboo. When you grow bamboo, it takes time for it to shoot, but you need to make sure that it is good, it's taken care of properly. The roots, okay, the systems below the line needs to be built properly. Then when it shoots up, it would stand. We need to start changing all of these things at the ground level so that in 5 years, when a film about something comes out, people will patronize it. Ebo White, I always use him as an example. It took time for people to patronize his plays, but now he sells out 3 times a day. George Quay has plays he does that will sell out like 4 or 5 times in a week. Do we want good things? Yes, we do. But somebody has to sacrifice to make it.
I mean, this example you gave for me is exciting. That there is no story about Auntie Esther. No one has written a play about Esther Fua in Kulenu. Then we'd cast some lady to act as her. Then the story. We don't do that.
Yes, because it's not just the creative. We have people who can write. We have people who can shoot it. But it's like supply and demand. Do you get my point? If it's like the example the man gave, if he takes rice from Ghana to Japan, why am I good?
There's no way he's going to make it.
We need to create the demand for it. And in creating the demand, after making the list of all the things you have, now you make the list of all the things we don't have or what are our flaws. And begin to draw lines. What can correct what? Okay, this can solve this. This can solve this. The creative arts can solve everything. But the creative arts can serve as a vehicle to solve everything. That's why NGOs will say, oh, we want a 2-minute short film translated into Dagati, Ewe, and this thing, so that we can show to the farmers in the other parts of Ghana that if they use this kind of insecticide, it is bad. They should go for more sustainable. Why are the NGOs doing that? Because they know the power of film.
Okay.
Organizations know the power of the creative arts, but organizations are a subset of the country.
Okay.
So as a country, holistically, do we know? We shouldn't just wait till November and then we start using songs and this to get people to vote. And I'm saying that to both NPP and NDC. We all do it. That's not the way to go. How about January or February or March? That intentional effort to use the creative arts. That's what
intentional effort to use the creative arts.
If you go to Kumasi on a Saturday, you see lots of red and black.
Yeah, funeral.
Thank you.
Everybody do.
Good. So as Africans, for that matter, African art is the way it is built is such that there's the function and then there's the aesthetics. And then to some extent there's the spiritual.
Of course, yeah.
So all African art is like that. So then why have we relegated arts or the creative sector to become just embellishment when it is intrinsic in the way we live? So the woman in Kumasi, Obeka se yenchantoma, a particular color, and it means something which comes from a proverb. We live it, but we have not been intentional about it. So now we think it is, it's just normal. But that's the thing. We need to start being intentional about it. If we wake up one morning and there are 16 red billboards in Accra, first thing we say is, hey, who died?
Of course.
So why are we not using these things? Because we that's the power we have. We are not using the power of communication. If you wake up and there are 16 white billboards, before elections, you think, why? Somebody win the election already. I think it's intentional.
Yeah. Before we move to the third one, I want to touch on high life. I've seen you speak on other platforms in this space concerning it. What is high life? What is high life? And in this discussion, where does high life plug in?
This question will be best answered by Professor John Collins. I interviewed him a few months ago.
Yeah,
a white person. Who
I mean, I know John Collins.
High life
than everybody else. Yeah. He's written some books about it. Amazing
Lots
guy.
Of books. Yeah. Okay. So I feel like high life is Ghanaian music.
It's hip life, high life.
Hip life took from high life. You see, the thing is, we are very eclectic people. I've been in conversations where people are saying that, oh, this is high life and this is not high life, and hip life is this and hip life and it's now hip hop, and somebody will say, but Black Sharif doesn't rap and he sings, so is it hip life? And all of that. What we need to understand, like I said from the beginning, is make a list of the things we have as Ghanaian.
High life will be part of our list.
Of course it is. Music is part of our list.
Okay.
As Ghanaians, we are highly eclectic. We like to pick from places. Unfortunately, we haven't looked at it from a positive point. So we pick, and we don't know why we're picking. So if we're eclectic by nature and we know that, okay, now let's be intentional about it. That's Burger High Life. Burger High Life is just a mixture of, let's say, dance music from the 80s and our sound. So hip life is essentially like Burger High Life, where we pick what we have and we'll mix it with something from it. Then you go further back. What Osibisa was doing was not purely high life per se, right? They were picking something foreign and then they mix it with what is Ghanaian. Then you go back even to the pre-colonial times. What then happened with high life is the foreign bands were playing like music, brass instruments, etc. And then these Ghanaians who were playing for them, who learned, also began to play it on the streets as their own thing. And that became the ethos of the high life we know. Even guitar band, the guitars came from Sierra Leone, soldiers from Sierra Leone. And then we picked it up and we incorporated it into our music. So the moment, anytime we start saying, oh, high life is Ghanaian, yes, I get that. We named the high life. But the key thing I'll say is Ghana is eclectic. So now there's Afrobeats, which you can't say is Ghanaian, but it has Ghanaian influences. So I think we should just stop fighting over, oh, what is not. We just need to understand that as Ghanaians, we are eclectic. It's a flaw, but it's also an advantage. So meaning that we can pick anything we want. We can go and pick hip hop. We can go and pick even bagpipe music from Scotland.
And add something to it.
So that's our advantage. So music is one of the things that should be on the list, whether we call it high life, whether we call it back life, whether we call it country life, whatever it is. The Ghanaian is naturally eclectic. When we understand that, we won't have any problems naming things and taking advantage of stuff.
It's 9:30. We're still talking to Nana Kofi Asihene, creative consultant per excellence. Let me find out from him. Mm-hmm. Nana, why didn't Azonto last, become like what or it just served the purpose and it had to disappear?
I think it's a bit of both. The name Azonto possibly vanished because of the cadence of the name Azonto, and I think the whole Afro music fusion movement was getting to a place where it needed to sound more silky. So I think the name Azonto was something that people didn't really roll off the tongue of people saying, as our musical tongue became smooth, right? But Azonto served its purpose at a point in time, because Afrobeats was sort of like lived on the shoulders of Azonto to get to a certain point, and then Azonto dropped off. Without the dance, that attention wouldn't have come to us, because then all you saw was all of a sudden everybody was dancing in all the capitals of the world to a certain genre of music that was clearly African, mm-hmm. and at a certain BPM, and everybody bought into it. Azonto served that purpose. We named it Azonto, right? Because we took the naming rights. But after a point, the music then became forefront and began to rise. Now, so you realize that the BPM of music generally has dropped. I mean, there are still some high BPM, but it's dropped because we've got into a space where music has become smoother and all of that. So Azonto would have naturally vanished, but dance is still there. And lots of dances have come, and that Azonto is what sparked the whole idea of this is a dance, name it something. The whole world knows about it. It's time for a new dance, name it something. It will continue to go on. I think we shouldn't be too emotional about some of these things. Change is inevitable, it happens. So we should take the opportunities and maybe go ahead of a curve and create the opportunities.
That's and it still come back to the same thing. We are not intentional.
Yes. We wait for something to happen and then we scream and shout.
Third one, influence.
Yeah.
Influence refers to the country's ability to shape global discourse and policy. Yeah. Charlie, who are you to go shape global discourse in this time? And how are we shaping it? America shapes it by movies, like you say. Yeah. They inculturate you
policies and all of that. We shaped dance in the world. We did. We shaped dance.
Ghana.
Yeah.
Not Nigeria.
Ghana shaped dance in the world. Nigeria helped at a point. We started it and then Africa took. So Kenya has their own dance thing. The South Africans now have come with their, but we shaped dance. So the thing is, back to the first list, what do I have? I don't have billions of dollars to tell NATO what to do.
Otherwise, we'll bomb you, NATO, if you don't stop this.
Yes, we don't have that power.
Okay.
But when you leave the boardroom and you're at home or you're driving in your car, I have that power. It's like that analogy where they say that if you want to get a man's head, get to the wife and then in the bedroom, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Yeah. We have, so back to the list. When we know what we have, we can use what we have. And what we don't have, we don't even touch it at all. That's peace of mind. We know that if right now, the aircraft and the bombs, Charlie.
We no get.
But we go feel entertain you. it sounds I get it, but that's the truth.
Get it. Yeah.
So that's the influence that
what we have,
we should start using this as influence. We should start dropping, putting things in our content that changes the way people see about us, and that changes global discourse. Because truth is, anytime there's something happening in the political scene and there's some agitation, it's usually fronted by the creative people.
Yeah.
Any other sector can say what they want to say. We don't. The nurses can strike, but it's just because they want their salary. But let the creatives take onto the street and photographers start photographing. People are putting on social media. People are doing spoken word pieces, artworks and stuff.
Somebody's rapping about it, putting out there.
Exactly. All of a sudden, people begin to listen. So influence we have, but we are not using it properly.
Okay. Still within the dance space and the music space, is it that it's moving from country to country, and as it stands now, we are all looking down south to South Africa and doing that? What is that thing they are doing down there?
I forgot the name. Twala something.
What's the name? DJ Wade. What is a song thing being done in South Africa?
I mean, they've come up with their own piano thing with the
drums. Yeah. Okay. So it's like, are we there now? And will it move to somewhere else? And what can Ghana do to make sure it comes here and it stays here?
The thing is, it would move around because change is inevitable, like I said, right? But we still play a very important role. Like I said, Ghanaians are naturally eclectic. So if it is down south and it is log drums and we can use it, let's use it, but let's not forget the Yamponsan riffs. So that when we hear Amapiano from Ghana, you can clearly tell that, this is Ghanaian. Like an example, somebody said, I was in South Africa and someone played Kamido. And I said, this guy is Ghanaian. I was like, that's the only Ghanaian song you've played the whole night. Then he was like, he's Ghanaian? I'm like, yeah, he's Ghanaian.
He thought he was what?
Nigerian or something. He didn't know.
Oh, wow. Even Kamido too, they lose him. Oh, Ghana.
Yeah. And I think he's one of the most awesome singers around. But yeah, they were thinking he's Nigerian because of the quality. But probably Ghana doesn't churn out that quality.
But don't we?
We do.
Don't we have?
We do.
Let me put you on the spot, since we are into the art space and the reputation wise. If the Yamponsa is where the thing all started from, and the high life is where we were best, how come your top 4 or 5 or even 10 biggest acts in your country are doing non-Yamponsa
I mean, like I said, change is inevitable. Change would happen. So you don't expect...
One day we'll move from the dancehall guys.
You see, but even the dancehall guys, this is the thing. The reason why the Stone Boys and all those people are visible is because when they enter a space, they enter a space with something that the rest cannot do. They enter with the Ghanaian feel. Right? If we continue to do that, we'll continuously be relevant because nobody else can sound Ghanaian but us. I mean, shout outs to Killbeat. Killbeat is a beat producer, and in the beginning, the ethos of Azonto and Afrobeat, he literally was one of the people who shaped how it should sound. The Ghanaian sound was there; you could hear it clearly. Okay, so the thing is, we can't do away with other influences for that matter.
Okay,
but we can go into the space. Like I said, Ghanaians are eclectic. We can go into the space, but show our Ghanaianness for that matter.
Culture and heritage.
Yeah. We have plenty of it. We're not telling our stories. Even now, I doubt if kids in school now are thought about our culture and our heritage. We've been made to think that it is fetish. No, it is not. You see, a lot of wisdom resides in the past, in history. Most countries that make it forward go back to the past. Be it a mistake or be it whatever, it is still your past and you need to think about it. Then again, and then you take out the best parts of it. Ghanaian stories are so layered. If you go to the Cape Coast Castle and they're telling you the story about the castle, you learn a lot about how Ghanaians are and our heritage. If you take a basic stew, when you take a stool, I can tell you a story about the stool that you go like, wow, this is true. Yes, it is true. I may add a few lies, but it is true. It's like we're surrounded with so much culture and heritage, but we've ditched it for other things. And that's why we're suffering. Because the moment you go back and you sit in what is truly Ghanaian, you realize that there's so much to tell. Our stories, our advertising, so much. I put up a post recently about some of the music videos I'd done and how I'd made them unique by picking things from Ghanaian culture, purely Ghanaian culture, using elements, using symbols, using things that are culturally relevant. And it made them different in the sea of so many things that looked the same and had a certain look and feel. So we do have it a lot. But then let's look at it. The kids. Do we teach the kids these things? Because then after we are gone, will they know what happened before we were here? Are books telling those stories? When we say Kente, there's something I would say. Even Kente, right? We've adulterated Kente. Yes, and I know change is inevitable. But as you change, don't throw away the main thing. Recently, I saw I've forgotten who, a politician gift Kente to a big person in the world. And it wasn't original Kente, it was Kente with embroidery. And I get that Kente has changed. But I think the least thing we could have done was present that person with original form of Adrinasa, which is a pure Ghanaian craft, which symbolizes the highest form of Ghanaian expression when it comes to narrow strip weaving. But no, we did not. They just presented him something that was woven with embroidery, something that the Chinese can easily replicate. And that's what we presented to, was it the Pope? Yeah, I think so.
Those who presented, did they know?
That's the problem too. Do we know? Education. Do we know? Do we know the value of what we have so that we don't adulterate it, so we don't throw it away and pick up new things? Because if you present that piece of Kente to the Pope, and it is doable, because all they have to do is, okay, narrow strips, weave it plain, block, add this. Instead of that intricate weave thing that a master weaver will sit. A master weaver will sit for like 5 weeks.
But Nana, are you not being Nana Kofi Asihene here? Because I would have seen the presentation and clapped.
Of course, everybody claps. But because I know, I realize that, okay, there's a lot more we can do. Back to that list again. If I make that list and we take Kente, we will look at what Kente is and maybe find a way of making this form of Kente more commercial. And then making the other form of Kente even more valuable.
Exactly.
That's why I study Japanese culture a lot. And they have this thing where broken pots are fixed with gold.
Some glue, and the thing is,
glue,
and it's
broken, but it has more value. It will cost
than an original one.
Yes, value. The Japanese understand what value is. That's why if you pick Japanese selvedge jeans, it is sewn from one piece of denim fabric. It's just jeans that everybody wears, but that will cost you over $2,000 because of the crafts behind it. So in the midst of all this AI, etc., happening where computers can churn out and spit stuff out, your ability to do something novel is what makes you, or what brings value. Therefore, on that list that you said in the beginning, we need to look at the things that we can do that nobody else can do.
Kente, jollof, the list is coming, right?
Everything, a lot of things.
We'll come to that list again. Recently, you said you were moving back into one of your first loves, which is clothing, designing and all that. Let me find out. What is the Ghanaian look? What should we go sell to the world in terms of our look? If the Scottish are doing skirts, what should we do?
I think what we do, back to the point, we are very eclectic.
We've picked from other places.
So the kaftan isn't really a Ghanaian thing. I think it's an African thing. Because if you look at the way the African man dresses, it's very loose clothing because of our climate.
Okay.
And in certain places where the weather is hot during the day and very cold at night, you need to balance it out. So when we look back into how we dress or how we are, that's how we can churn out what the Ghanaian look is. But then there's the fabrics. There's the Northern Kente, Ewe Kente, Ashanti Kente. Tie and dye is naturally not it's not a Ghanaian thing. But we've picked it up and we've developed techniques that work as Ghanaian. So the Ghanaian look will be eclectic, but would still have something that is Ghanaian. So you can probably put out a suit and line it with a certain fabric that can only be found in Ghana. That's like your little touch of Ghana. I'm not saying don't make suits. Go ahead and make the suits, because if you make suits and you sell them on Savile Row, you probably make more money. But make sure that there's an identity that makes you different from what another British tailor is making.
So you are very pragmatic in your stuff. I mean, like in your recommendations to Ghana, that don't be too emotional.
I mean, there are times when you are. There's a point to be emotional, because I've gone to a point when I as a young creative, I was very emotional. Then I got to a point where I became very businesslike. But I think it's a perfect balance of both. Okay. Knowing when to balance it. There are certain things that you throw out the emotions and just think economics and money and profit. And there are certain times where you drop all of that and think value and culture. And there are certain times when you balance it. It's knowing the balance that helps, because sometimes tweaking it a certain or skewing it a certain direction gives you advantage on your next transaction than this one. So you need to know how to balance that.
Because I'm finding that more believable, because history has shown that even the Kabain slit is actually foreign. And we brought it in and then we made it ours.
Yeah, we're eclectic. I mean, I don't know why we haven't figured that out yet. We are just, see, maybe that's also a reflection of how creative we are. We can pick anything and make it our own. Okay. So maybe that's our thing.
That is what we should go out there and
maybe that's
sell.
our thing. But when in making it our own, we should make sure that after we touch it and we let it go, you know that no, a Ghanaian has
touched it.
Yeah, that's it.
Amazing. It's something that has never crossed my mind, that we can actually push this agenda, that we are not, there is nothing inherently Ghanaian. Mm-hmm. But however, if you brought yours in, we'll take it, turn it around, and then push it out there.
Yep.
Okay. Let's also find out media and communication. Mm-hmm. Media and communication in terms of, Charlie, why can't Ghana?
When a Ghanaian says Charlie.
Sometimes some of these things are so frustrated. Why are we not placing the Ghanaianness out there? If we have Ghanaians out there doing stuff, Wakanda. Mm. There were Ghanaianness in Wakanda, right? Yeah. It didn't crash symbols and all.
Yeah.
But you're saying it wasn't intentional. Somebody did it and then we clapped.
For them, it was intentional because the film process means that you need to do something that's super authentic so that it's believable. And not just that, it needs to be academically correct.
Okay.
Historically accurate. And that's the approach to film. That's why pre-production on the film can take years. Not 2 days. That's why pre-production on a TV commercial should take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks where you prep. Not can we shoot tomorrow?
You won't do that.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, you've turned down. I know.
I won't do it because at the end of the day, when I put out the work, the last work I did should give me my next job.
Okay.
So I can't put out something mediocre unless, of course, I won't put my name on it. But I'm at a point where that doesn't help. Now back to Wakanda. So the thing is, they intentionally researched and put these things in, so that when that man is wearing the Edinkra means saying goodbye, and he's in a space where he's talking to his dead father. It makes sense. The cultural relevance of the cloth and what it means, and even the colors of that scene, and the tree behind him, what kind of tree it was. Geographically, if you research it, you realize that, okay, so if I were to dive into the film and look around Africa, this is the area they probably were, because those trees are not in Ghana, they are in this side of Africa. That's the level of thinking we do, because art and psychology goes together. So that's how intentional they were about these things. And then we love it because to you and me, hey, it is nice. We haven't thought about, and it was this and this, and we haven't broken it down. But guess what? Our mind has done it already because we are Ghanaians. So our mind does it, and this seems like our thing. So then we take it up, and then we accept it, and then we push it. That's what advertising even does. So when you're doing an ad campaign for, say, you're shooting a commercial, and it has to be set in Takoradi, and the product is for people in Takoradi, place things in there that Takoradi people understand. When the commercial starts, be playing some Kofi Kinata in the background, small. They won't really hear it, but they feel it. The aim is control what people feel by using what they see. There's a connection there, and if you do that and it works properly, like visual effects. If I tell you certain things, like the Premier League, when you're watching the Premier League, it's all shot on green screen, but you won't see it because of the way it is done. So if you don't, I don't
even want to understand what you just said. I mean, it's all shot on green screen. If you don't see
it, it means it's done properly. You only feel it. We should start understanding that everything people see has a psychological connotation or inflection on how they feel. So then we should start using that. There's a reason why a certain party uses red, white, and blue, and someone uses green. They all have meanings. That's why our national flag is red, yellow, green with a black star. It means something.
We're not milking these things enough. Now, domestic tourism.
Yes.
Internal tourism. Mm-hmm. Ghanaians visiting Ghanaian places.
We don't go.
Why?
So many factors.
Is it not because of you people? You the creative guys.
Transportation.
Do some video about a place.
Yes, but still transportation. Our transportation networks don't support that. So in the beginning I said that if you put out the product and I come and it's out of stock, I won't come back again. Yes. How do I get to the product? Transportation. When I'm there, maybe give me free Wi-Fi so I can do, hello guys, I'm at this. It seems very mundane, but it's important. It helps. So for all these things to happen, like I said, let's not rush. We probably need like a 5-year plan to be able to clean up to a point that it's appreciable, not the best, and continue to grow it over that period when people begin to come. If I won't go to Cape Coast if I don't have my own car, because public transportation to Cape Coast Castle is cumbersome.
Yeah.
Or going up north, I have to fly. Now there are a few airports, so Ghana is opening up. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So as much as we think about, we have to go, how do we go? I spend a lot of time at the beach. Recently, I was at the beach. I had my camera and I photographed the amount of dirt on the beach.
Why?
And I'm coming, and a lot of beach fronts. People had invested money into nice places in front, like by the beach. But when you walk to where the sea meets the land, there's a lot of dirt, all kinds of dirt, all kinds.
Chalewote and things. Yeah, I've seen those.
Furniture, half of a chair, like all kinds of things. So I think I posted it, and one of my friends who runs a place on the beach said they clean the place every morning, every single morning. By morning, the dirt is back. So then, yes, let's reverse engineer it. Why is the dirt coming back there? This doesn't lie in the laps of, say, tourism or whatever. Waste disposal. There's something really happening that is affecting that. So waste disposal, why are people disposing of the waste there? We know all these things. Probably because they are trying to just make money as waste whatever. So they dump it somewhere. Therefore, how then do we correct that problem? Even agriculture can solve this. No Kofi, he drops the thing over there so he can get paid quickly. If there's food for him, it all affects. So it's like a cycle. The creative arts can't exist on its own. Tourism can't exist on its own. Agriculture cannot exist on its own. Health cannot exist on its own. It's like a concerted effort with all these industries together. Where does my end and where does yours start? Should we blur the lines more? Should we draw the lines more? How do we work holistically around all of these things? Even health. So we are saying in health, but our beaches are dirty. So when I get money and I go to the beach and I choose small kebab and this, I go home and I have to go to the hospital. So...
And so everything is intertwined.
Yep.
But the creative arts happens to be like the lubrication within all of these
Call
things.
it that, the vehicle, the front-facing machinery, the PR of all of this. But in the back, there's the machinery. There's the IT space who will make sure that this infrastructure or all of this is set. There's the health. There's the roads. There's policy. There's things as education, which is at the base of this whole thing, which starts begins to turn the minds of people so they begin to look at all of these things. And even as they are doing that, how then do we educate them? How then do we break down our syllabus into little pieces of creative things that the kids can pick up easily? Now, kids of today will go on TikTok and look at a dance, and in two minutes, they know the dance. You can walk by the road and break into dance, and 60 people will join because they know the formation. That's education. It's not entertainment. It is education. So how then do we go back? How do we use the creative arts to get our kids to learn more? Are there any kid story? I mean, the stories, the kids in school, right? Are they told any stories that's culturally relevant about our history? No. They know more about what are the superheroes nowadays, Cora? And SpongeBob and
I mean, I watch SpongeBob.
There's a whole manga following anime culture in Ghana because it is presented. People are looking for options. They don't get it, so they lean.
The Japanese are sending it to us. They're pushing it onto us.
The Chinese are sending it. The Americans are sending it.
Our very good friend Jones. I should bring him here one of these days for us to talk cartoons and the.
I mean, their space is struggling.
The cartoon space.
Their space is struggling because we need to make content for kids. They can make content for kids.
But it's expensive.
But it's not expensive. I mean, one V8 can make content for kids that would last as 10 years.
What V8? The 70th anniversary?
Either one.
Okay.
Don't go too far. The small one.
No, we need to do this again and again and again because this has been exciting conversation. Nana Kofi Asihene is a creative consultant. I don't know any other way to call it, and he's been having a great conversation with us on the creative space in this country. Hey, I've missed a lot of messages. Please ask him if he's still into clothing.
Yes, I am.
Yes. What? I got so caught up in it that I forgot that messages were coming through. Anyway, so thank you so much. Nana, the messages are just too much. You need to promise to come back again.
Ready when you are.
Yeah, let's sit down. Let's talk more into Ghana's creative space. There are a lot of gentlemen who want to also interview you. They want to interview you on this. Thank you so much, Nana Kofi Asihene, for coming through today. It's been an exciting experience on Z101.9 FM. DJ P28, I know you have a question, but I won't allow you to ask. Let's use that to bait him to come back another time so that we continue the conversation. It's Z101.9 FM. All too soon, it's 9:55, and our show is up. As always, before we leave, let's say it as it is. Pray like it only depends on God, but work like it only depends on you. Thank you very much, people. We'll do this again tomorrow. Tomorrow, don't forget, is a TGI Triple F edition. Thank God it's finally Friday.
It's your lifestyle, lurcher, and business radio.